The only purpose of this video is to help you score more marks in the exam. You cannot score high marks on the longer questions if you cannot analyse and evaluate business decisions and case studies. In class, I always call this, what's the impact of a decision on a business? And I keep saying to you, so what? So we're going to train our staff better. So what? What's the impact? And you keep asking so what questions, looking for the benefits and also possibly the negative effects that any decision might have on a business. So this tutorial is about analysis and evaluation and being able to write statements about impact on a business. So I've been thinking carefully about impact and analysis and evaluation. And what I've tried to do is create a memory aid for you to help you in an exam if you're finding a question difficult and to help you focus on what the impact of a business decision or a business concept might be. Now I've boiled it down into this one sentence here. Mr. CD PROM shares the formula with customers, that's loyalty. Take a moment to read that and try and remember it, and I'll talk you through it now. The really important thing to remember is that you will not need all 14 of these in any one answer. You may only need 2 or 3. The real work for you is to figure out which ones are relevant to the particular question you are working on at the time in the exam. So let's start with the Mr, the M and the R. The M is for marketing mix. If you're looking at a case study question in the exam, could the impact be that the business has to change, amend or alter its marketing mix? Now that involves you knowing what the marketing mix is, the 4 Ps, but some things will happen in a business which means that they have to change their marketing mix. Perhaps they need to change their pricing strategy, perhaps they need to look at their advertising, perhaps they need to look at the way they promote their goods or services. But potentially marketing mix might need to be changed. Reputation is a nice easy one. The case study that you're working on in the exam, could it have any impact on a business's or a company's reputation? Could it strengthen their reputation? Could it damage their reputation? See, you need the right verb that goes with it. But think about it. For example, poor customer service in a shop might potentially damage the reputation of that business. Not using ethical business practices, so employing child labour, could seriously damage the reputation of the business. That is an impact. Now there may be some more after that, because if your reputation's damaged, it leads you on to some other impacts, namely loss of sales, reduced revenue, etc. But you get the point where I'm going here. We've done Mr. Let's do CD. I like these two. Competitiveness. If you ever get the chance to use the phrase such and such, this may help the business to stay competitive. So using competitor pricing, for example, helps a business remain competitive. If you innovate your products, this allows a business to remain competitive. So it increases the level of competitiveness of the business. Actually, that sounds a bit clumsy. Go with it helps them remain competitive. The D for demand. This is a good one. What I meant by this is anything that happens in business, could you say this helps them keep up with customer demand? So for example, automating, so using machines to do the production process, this may help them keep up with high customer demand. Can you imagine a chocolate bar company or something like that keeping up with demand if they made everything by hand? No, they use automated processes, which means they can keep up with demand. Here's the thing, if you can't keep up with demand, you will not maximize your sales. Get my point? Good. Let's talk about PROM quickly. I'm not going to dwell on these for too long. When you're writing an exam, could anything that you claim, any kind of strategy, business decision, training workers, whatever it is, could it improve productivity? Alternatively, could it negatively affect productivity? Could it improve staff retention? Retention is about keeping staff in your business. It could reduce staff retention. That's good because that cuts costs, right? Could the case study you're writing on, could you say, for example, that automation helps improve or increase output, the amount of goods actually produced? That sounds good. Could morale be affected? Could this damage morale, reduce morale? Morale is the team spirit, the way people are feeling at work. Are they happy? Job satisfaction. So, for example, lots of redundancies caused by technology can lead to low morale. Whereas if everybody's trained and everybody's happy, this increases morale because people are happy in their work. Okay? Get it? Excellent. Do you understand at this point that I don't know which question you are working on right now while you're thinking about this? All I'm saying is here are 14 arrows you could potentially fire at this question. The next one's a good one. I like this. No one ever writes this one. Come on, geniuses, get with the program. Share. That means market share. If you increase your sales, presumably you are increasing your market share. If you target another segment of the market, this could be you increasing or raising the company's market share. Don't use company, say business. Okay? Could it increase your market share? That's always a good throwaway phrase. All right, geniuses, let's move on. Formula. Of course, I say geniuses, I meant fellow geniuses. The next one's a good one. The word formula is the trigger, and it triggers the magic formula. Sales minus costs equals profit, which is a very simplified form of what we've been talking about since forever. Business decisions, whatever it is, recruitment, motivation, retention, types of ownership, blah, 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 whatever it is, could it potentially increase sales, reduce costs, potentially increasing profit? I like the word revenue better than sales, and I think the exam board does as well. So, for example, the company could redo the way it advertises its products and potentially increase its revenue. That means sell more stuff. Stuff being a technical term for goods or services. That's always a good one to go for. If you can increase your sales revenue, hey, use that phrase, right? That potentially increases profit and is obviously good for the company, especially if you have shareholders. Well, it's good for the owners. You get where I'm going with this. Increased sales, reducing costs or cutting costs is always a great thing to say. Look, if you're not sure about the formula, algebra it out. Sales minus costs equals profit. 10 minus 7 equals 3. How do you turn that 3 into 4? There are two ways. Increase sales, reduce costs. You could do both of those at the same time. That would be very clever in business. Think about it. The word formula means the magic formula. You've got it. Now, a couple of things have just occurred to me. I said algebra it out. I know I wasn't using algebra. Mathematicians, do not be angry with me, and you do not need to contact me. I've just thought of something else here that would work nicely. Could anything that happens in a business change the company's, there I go again, the business's break-even point? If, for example, your costs go up, your fixed and variable costs, try and use both of those terms. I said costs earlier, but we know about fixed and variable costs, don't we? Or expenses, for example. Could either of those things change the break-even point? If the costs go up, presumably we have to sell more to break even. Oh, you would sound like such a business guru if you could say in the exam, if the fixed costs and the expenses go up, this may mean that the break-even point is affected. The company has to sell more widgets to break even. That would be very clever indeed. But that is the business we are in. We're in the being clever business. And finally, we come to customers and loyalty. Well, I'm fairly sure in whatever you're writing or at certain opportunities, you may be able to say, and this will attract this will attract new customers. This will attract potential customers. This will keep existing customers. This will increase customer loyalty. This will increase brand loyalty. This will keep customers happy. This will satisfy customers. This will meet the demands and needs of customers. Blah, blah, blah. Come on, you know how to work this. Think about when you're writing an answer. Could you possibly say this will attract new customers or keep existing customers happy, thereby strengthening their loyalty? Because the one thing about loyal customers is they come back and spend more money. Now, we're nearly at the end of this magnificent symposium. You've got so much to think about here. My point is this. If you try to include even 6 or 7 of these into one short answer, it would sound too much. You've got to use what I've just told you, kind of like the salt and pepper. They enhance your meal, but you wouldn't want to be eating only salt and pepper. This is just the analysis and evaluation of the other stuff you write in in some of your questions. But it takes practice for this. If you end or even start some of your answers with some of the language I've been using in this short video, okay, your answers are going to be better, but it takes practice, okay? And I know that some of you are not comfortable with some of these phrases. Which is why I'm now including this other slide that you're looking at now about phrases that would sound great in your answers. And there it is, look, staying competitive. Oh, we haven't mentioned reducing risk as well. That could be in here. This means that the company would then reduce the risk of failure. This would also allow them to stay competitive and may potentially increase their market share, thus attracting potential customers and keeping existing customers loyal. And this could also help inform decision making. These are wonderful phrases, but it will not sound natural until you've written them out a few times and thought about which ones you can use. Of course, if we're going to say reduce risk, there's also increase the chance of success. So I'm including this slide here just to show you how to use some of this stuff properly in your exam. And now we really are getting towards the end of the presentation. I leave you with this. You're going to need some verbs and some other language to make this stuff sound real. So what I've done here is at the bottom of the slide, I've put all the key vocabulary we've just been talking in. I've put in this fantastic memory aid in the middle, Mr. CD PROM, whoever he is. That's now there for you. And at the top, look, in attractive colours, I've put some words that will help you apply this language to certain essays. So for example, change the marketing mix, preserve their reputation, maintain their good reputation, maintain the high level of sales, preserve the high level of productivity. This could negatively affect staff morale. This could potentially boost sales and increase their market share. Boost is a good word. Not enough people use it, in my opinion. But you need to practice. Look, I hope this has made sense. Get to work learning that list of 14 or so phrases, right? Start practicing them. Start submitting me something to look at if you're not confident. I hope this has helped. Be reading this stuff out to yourself. If you have never said it out loud, it will not sound natural when you write it in an exam. Okay, good luck in all of your endeavours.